Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Nonsense live stream. Take two. Something happened during my last stream and I got cut off, so I don't know. Maybe they don't like truth. That's okay. You know what? It gave me time to actually reevaluate what I was going to talk about, which the title of this stream is where you go from here. When I was young, 18, 19, 20, I thought I knew everything there was to know about the way the world works, what you needed to do in order to become successful. I always had good intentions to help causes. If I was 20 years old, if I'm honest, I might have been the same guy who was holding up signs destroying stuff just because I was a punk. Because there's always been a part of me, a darkness, a part of me that likes to see like destruction sometimes, you know? And when I'm young and I don't know how the world actually works and I'm not aware of things, not even aware of myself and my own behavior, I would have been right on board. I would have been on board probably with, fuck the police and no, whatever argument is in the air at the moment, right? So as I got older, as I made my own mistakes in life, as I fell into my own deep, dark abyss, my own hells that I created by the choices of my life and nobody else's but my own. And I had to learn to pull myself out of those pits that I dug those pits. This is why I believe and know today that every person is responsible only for their own words and actions. A lot of people like to speak for other people. A lot of people think they're doing like a great justice to go say, I'm helping these people. It's really about you. If you're really honest with yourself, it's about you. Like I said, when I was 20, 19 years old, I didn't know anything how the world worked. I thought I knew enough with my wonderful semi-public crap education where they were really pounding some nonsense into my head. But luckily, the internet hadn't been around yet, so I grew into it. So I wasn't completely and utterly brainwashed. But I understand why there's a hierarchy to respecting your elders and going down the chain. And we flip-flopped it at some point in time where we put children ahead and allowed them quiet, please. Tiger. Dog. Hey, good boy. Tiger. Shush. At some point, we allowed children to speak as adults, and that's where shit got off the rails. And the exact pinpoint of that, I don't know. But when you can see a lot of these peaceful protests and things like that going on, it's mostly young people. And maybe there were peaceful protests, but I like to think it's a little deeper than that. It's almost like people infiltrated it and made it worse, by sending their own crew in, if you know what I mean. Quiet, please. At some point in recent history, within my lifetime, well, it's been generational, but we definitely shifted the focus from adults who know how to think, act, and respond to children and anarchy and destruction. And when I was a kid, I didn't want to destroy the world, but I wanted to start with the first authoritarian people in my life, which were my parents. I was a rebellious teen, right? I was a good kid. We'll get to the whole what's going on as far as why people are protesting, but when I go back to my own life and I really truly look at my experiences, only then am I able to see the truth about what's really going on in the world. And I had to make a lot of mistakes. I had to fuck up a lot of times. I had to learn some really hardcore lessons. And what I discovered about myself was when I looked back into from my childhood, everybody was cool. I don't know about you, but I grew up in a town where everybody in elementary school level, everybody was friends. We were kids. We played on the playground, played foursquare, everything was fine. And, discrimination comes later. Foursquare, everything was fine. Then when you shift into adolescence and you go through the changes of puberty, right? There's a change in your physique. There's a change in your mentality. There's a change in your overall being. And when I went through that, it was awful. It was like the worst years of my life compared to later on when I had to go through some stuff. But going through adolescence in this day, when I grew up back in the mid late 90s, where it was, I just rebelled against my parents. Your parents are the first authority in your life for most of us, right? Your parents, whoever the adult is your authority. So we rebel against mom and dad, the people telling us what to do, right? And as a grown man, in hindsight, looking back now over 20 years, my parents were good parents. They did their jobs really well. My dad was a dad, my mom was a mom, right? But at the time, I did not know how the world worked. I was going through this weird emotional change that nobody could tell me how it was going to be other than allowing myself to experience it. So when I see kids today and these protests and these riots, most of them are young. Most, not all, I know. Jesus. But I can tell you for sure, I watched a protest down in my hometown and I saw the video, a live feed of it, and I watched a good chunk. And most people, 95% of that crowd was somewhere between 16 to 22, maybe. They were young. Which should put things into a perspective of youth not knowing any better. They know not what they do. So where do you go from here? Well, I'm a grown man. I've learned this stuff, and in hindsight, I realize that you can't reason with kids. You can try to mentor them, try to give them some pieces of truth, but they have to be allowed to fall into their own misery and their own decisions and see from their mistakes. And hopefully they're willing to figure it out. And I hope they do. I seriously hope they do. For the rest of us who are above the age of 30, where is this going? I've said from day one that I do not believe that the corona thing is what we think it is something far greater than that. And we've already seen this start to unfold, right? Have we not? We have seen the implementing social distancing, wearing a mask, stat manipulation, 10,000 stats are manipulated, okay? But if you're a statistician and that's what you like, let me give you another. I'm just kidding. So we got that. Now we have a race riot going on, right? Where people are going to an old argument and banking on that. So, is anybody care about Corona right now? Now there's talk of people. I detached and I posted something good like. The darkness disappears once the light appears. So if you keep giving in to the negative force, you will become, and it will get stronger. So you have to be the opposite. And this is why true binaries exist in this world: good, evil, light, dark. You have to balance out the scale, guys. The yin, the yang. So you have to be that shining light. You have to choose that, and don't justify things that are happening based on what you think. Because how you think and feel, how I think and feel on any given day will always change. My thoughts are so fucking erratic most of the days that I like coming on here and speaking my mind. This is what I do because through here I can get stuff out, and maybe in my mind it sounds like it's a good idea or it's bad. But once I start to talk things through, I start to realize like, oh, whoa, that might not be a good idea. That's pretty wrong. Maybe I got this the wrong way, right? But a lot of people don't want to have that kind of conversation, that honest conversation with other people that doesn't involve in emotions being attached to the conversation, where they just, like I've seen on Facebook the last couple of days, like some people arguing back and forth about arguments that don't matter at this point, but people like to have that argument for whatever reason. It might have something to do with the shirt I'm wearing. See, this is a joke. See right here. If you look at me right now and judge me for this shirt, you should really ask yourself why it bothers you so much. This is funny. This is hilarious. And if you think I think I'm always right, you have to seriously question some of your beliefs. Because I don't think I'm always right. And I've been wrong a lot. And because I've been wrong a lot has allowed me to get to this point where I believe the solutions to the problems that we face today have nothing to do with an overhaul of the police, which is nonsense, by the way, and I'll get to that. Why do you think it's nonsense, Matt? Well, if you can dismantle the only force that does separate and make it every man for himself, you can then infiltrate with your ideology, and your ideology can then spread throughout and still create more discourse. It's not the police that are a problem. It's not the exaggerated white on black thing, because let's be honest, folks, you know how you solve that problem? I put a post up the other day and I made this statement. I said, a man murdered another man. That's it. Take out the adjective, because that's what you saw. A man murdered another man. Everything else after that, there's a deeper darkness within each individual who use that as a justification for their own actions or their own behaviors. And by doing that, they are accountable for their actions alone. If they decided to get into their car, go down to a peaceful protest and pick up a brick and throw it into a business or fuck shit up, that is now on them. And they are demonstrating the fact that they are forfeiting their right to somebody potentially harming themselves. Them. Like, if I go into somebody's home and I threaten you, you have every right to kill me and defend yourself by any means necessary. Vice versa. If you come into my home and threaten me or my family, I then have the right to defend myself. So that fear of people looting in residential areas, dumb. You don't know what you're getting into. A smart person does not go into a home in the first place because you don't know what you're getting into. You have no idea what's behind closed doors. But a mob of people in a group setting, when there's 100, 200 people, you feel kind of strong because you're all like a wave, you know, and that wave will destroy whatever it touches. But as an individual, not so much. That's why it's not smart to get outside your car and yell at a mob when it's just you. Best to just sit back and let that go. But I understand the feeling of it, right? The feeling of what people are doing. There's a gentleman that I was watching yesterday. You might have heard of him. His name is Sadhguru. He's an Indian spiritual leader. He's pretty, he's got some good stuff to say. His fundamental truths are very profound. Like, he said, you have the right to protest, but you have no right to disrupt another person's life. Now think about that. When you block a road, when you get in, you're disrupting traffic, people have to function. You make it about you then. It's no longer about the cause. See, when you think about this grandiose idea of the cause or people's, it's nonsense. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful mental tool, though, to play on people's heartstrings, because I truly do love other people. I want to see other people succeed. And when I see other people succeed, I get happy for that. I'm excited to see them pursue things in life, right? I would not want to go to that person's house and like, you need to think and feel the way I do. Otherwise, you are this way. See, that is subversion, guys. That is somebody trying to implement guilt and shame on you that you don't need to feel because you did nothing wrong. Not even a little bit wrong. That is on them. It's a deeper, deeper issue. Don't let the issues on the surface blind you from the motive underneath. There's a very bad motive underneath the good motive. How do I know that? because of my own life. I said at the beginning, if I was 18, 19, I had no experience in life, I would have followed whatever just sounded good at the moment. There was a time I really thought, like, screw the police, man, they don't know what they're doing. It's because I don't understand how it works. I don't understand that they actually go through an extensive amount of training in order to not have to use force on the people. One of my best friends is a cop. I have heard the stories. His perception and his experience tells me what other people who have zero experience or perception on makes them know nothing. You hear, you see, you only react. Subversion of the truth. So, how do you get past it? It starts always with the source. And the source is not oppression. The source is not, we need to reevaluate the entire justice system. It's the source is you, the individual. Literally, for lack of a better description, have to unplug like the Matrix, because we are watching a movie right now in real life. This is a movie. Do not mistake it. It's like a movie. Unplug. Don't watch this. Let people do what they're going to do. What are you doing in your life? Are you being honest with yourself? Are you hiding a bad motive covered up by a good motive? You know what I mean? Are you really helping because you want to help? Are you helping because you want people to think you're helping so you can be a good person? See, that stuff exists. Have that tough conversation with yourself. Have it with other people. Have the ability to speak honestly. When people have a hard time talking about racism, because they're stuck on an idea that something exists that it does not. White supremacy was a thing. It no longer is. It's not. Not like the way you think it is. It's just not. That was a thing. It is no longer a thing. Just like the Roman Empire was here and now it's not. It's not here, guys. You're operating on really horrible, wrong, bad information. And it's okay. You want to know why it's okay? Because I too have done it. And what happens to a lot of people when they uncover new information and you start to question your concepts, your ideas, your ideology, and you get this new information, it messes with you. It makes you feel some type of grieving process, whether that's denial, anger, you're bargaining, like, no, this can't be true. And you're like, yeah, it's true. So you get to the bottom part, which is acceptance. So you have to accept today, you have nothing to do with the past of 100 years ago, 200 years ago, none of it. So stop talking about something you had nothing to do with. I had nothing to do with any slavery or oppression of black people in this country. Zero. I didn't do that. I'm a man who just wants to go and live life. And most cultures, because it's more of a culture thing, understand that you lose the ability to make decisions when you decide to impose on another person's life. This is why inner city gangs understand that. You don't go on another person's turf. You are dealt with. That's a real thing. Just like if somebody were to break into my home, they have forfeited their life potentially, because you're coming in here saying, I'm okay with dying, because there's a good chance the house that you're breaking into to loot or to steal or to do something else horrible, that person can then defend their family. If you're not willing to defend your family and siphon off those responsibilities to someone else, like, I'm just going to wait till the police get here. No, it's up to you. Always. Police are there to serve and protect, but they will not make your life easier. Okay? Well, what do you do about the brutality? Take out the adjectives to things. Okay? If you're a statistician, I suggest you look up the actual statistics on white on black crime. The statistics, at least where I'm from in Illinois, the highest is black on black. You want to know why? Because it comes from Chicago. Again, they understand the fundamentals of actual human behavior more than most people do. This is mine, that's yours. Please do not impose on it. If you do, I'm going to kill you. Like those, and you think, well, they need some more education, they need some stuff. No, they understand how the world truly works. Just like when I was 18, 19, 20 years old, and I thought holding up a sign and I'm making some awareness. You weren't doing shit. You were annoying people. You were taking up good chunks of your life to educate yourself on how the world really works, and you were doing nothing. Could you do less? But I went down and I cleaned up the glass. That's about you. That's not about helping. If you say that, like, well, I did this and I did that, you understand that that starts with I. It's not about actually helping. You're making it about you. If you do a good deed in this world, nobody should know about it other than you. You should be able to go help after looting and rioting if you choose to, great. But do not gloat that you were down there helping clean up the aftermath of something that was caused by other people that wasn't your responsibility, but yet you are on the grandiose stage thinking that by doing that, for some reason, you're a good person. New. How do you handle yourself first? The inside out is how this problem gets solved. Be honest with yourself about things. You have to understand culture more, okay? There is an element of race, and it's based on an individual. You have to take things on individual basis. If you group in a whole and say the police department, for example, is the cause, we have to reform the police. Dude, it's not, think it through. You have, and we do this all the time. I see people that they're not completely unaware. They're just operating on bad information. You say bad apple. No, yeah, so you take the bad apple, you isolate it, you figure out they might have some personal issues. You don't know. You can't assume you know that everybody is this way. It's a dangerous mentality to assume another person's intent because you have no idea what's going on up in their noodle. None. Zero. Zero. You have to only focus in on what you do, your reaction to what is done. True compassion for another human being is the ability to let them make their mistakes and hope and pray that they learn from them, not to interfere with your good intentions. Good intentions are the path to hell. In my experience, every time I had a good intention, it led to some kind of hell in my own life. That doesn't mean don't go help people, guys. That doesn't mean, you don't care. It doesn't, but understand what things actually are, not what you think it is. It's not oppression. It's not, because you can talk to actual, for lack of a better description, black folks and see that that are doing stuff and are successful in life and have their families and are doing great, that when they see this kind of shit happen, they are like, oh my God, please stop. Because you speak for only your actions, but when you speak on behalf of something, is a dangerous road, guys. Dangerous road for all of society and cultures. You have to understand somebody else first before you can understand yourself, but you have to learn yourself. Understand how you tick. What are your motives? Question your motives every single day. Was this something that is this a selfish thing? Am I covering up a bad motive with a good one? Here's an example. Like, let's say you're dating somebody, right? And this is a good one. I just want to go to coffee with them. I'm just meeting an old friend. But underneath that good motive to catch up with your friend, you're thinking about having sex with them. That's a bad motive, covered up by a good motive. You tell people you're just going to go meet your friend for coffee. She hasn't seen you in a while. But underneath, you're thinking, I wonder if I can have this go somewhere. See, that little motive is things people probably do all the time. I've done it in my past. I understand that. This is why you have to go within and see what you do on a daily basis, not what the world does. Not like, oh my God, can you believe these kids? Of course I can. I was 18, 19 years old, brainwashed by whatever. I had no life experience, nothing other than the only authoritarian force in my life are my parents, and I fucking rebelled the hell against them, which, when looking back in hindsight, awful. But years later, and a lot of in-depth look into myself, I can review those parts of my life through a better perception, a little broader perspective, a little bit more experience under my belt. This is why when you see like actual cultures who follow a hierarchy from elder, middle to child, there's a reason they always look towards the elder. We forgot about that. That's why you don't see like really old people out there protesting, because they've been through it before at some level in their life, because there's nothing new under the sun. This has all happened before. But we've also been infiltrated and programmed to believe like there is a force of mass hysteria of racism in this country. No, there is discrimination, but that happens on all levels. You've been discriminated against. I've been discriminated against since we were kids. I didn't get a spot in the four-square line when I was in third grade. That's discrimination, guys. Somebody didn't choose me on their team. That's real discrimination. We don't think about it like that. Every time you hear that word, discrimination, I bet you believe that it's always about a skin color. It's not. Discrimination also comes from when you're getting a job. Applicants. These applicants have different various strengths and talents, and those go up for an interview. That interview will then determine, based on your ability to do the job that you are applying for, is how you get the job. It's not about color. Maybe it has been in before, but 99% of the time, no. It's like, can you do this job? You have experience in it? Great. This person, not so much experience, doesn't matter. That's discrimination. You're discriminating between applicants to see which is the best fit for your company, for your business. When I was a part owner of a business several years back with some friends, and I wanted the best people working for me, the most trustworthy, reliable people. I didn't want fuckheads. I didn't want people that are like, Grr! I discriminated because I took pride in the business I have. Now think about that when there's an owner of a business who isn't sucking on the corporate entity that we have and has done all the right moves to get into the business, who has spent their time, their money, all this stuff, and then somebody comes up and disrupts their way of life. They have no right to do that, guys. And I know you think it's like a righteous cause, but it is not. It's detrimental, and the ripple effect is far more negative than you realize. This is why it's good to talk about these things and not just lump it into a category like racist, this, oppression, white, black. No. Different cultures operate differently. American black culture, American white culture, okay? Chinese people, Japanese people. You know, Chinese people hate Japanese people. That's real racism. They hate them. Chinese people also think black people aren't real. They think they're ghosts and bad luck to them in their culture. So if you take your idea of helping them, fly yourself over to China and try to spread the good message, what do you think that culture is going to do to you? They will kill you because they don't care. Meaning, the deeper meaning of that point is to say, worry about your own life. Everything will work itself out. But to think you can go above and beyond that to have this, you know what we're going to do if we just were in China spreading the words of, you know, what I believe. They don't want to hear what you believe. Nobody wants to hear what you believe. No. I see, friends. Another thing to people who are white, who are trying to tell people, other white people, what it's like to be black, you have lost all credibility. I can't take you seriously. And let me tell you something else, you folks who are befriending of those people that are white, that take that side because you're self-righteous and you don't really look at yourself, they don't respect you. They do not. They may like you hanging out with them. They may think you're cool, but deep in their core, they know you betrayed your own and they don't like you for that. Nobody likes people that betray their own. That's why, like, if a Chinese person moved here and became an American citizen and denounced China, if they were to go back to China and try to be that, they probably would kill them. Why? Because they don't appreciate being, uh, they know you turned on your own. And that's an infiltration of a darkness and a thing that is way more deep than the race crap. Yuri Bezmenov is a guy you might see on YouTube. He's kind of well known for having this video back in the 80s. He was a KGB. I was talking about this before this got interrupted. He was a KGB defective during the Cold War. He came to America, and he told in an interview how to infiltrate a society and destroy it from within. And if his words are true, we're in the middle of a stage 3 part of it. What are the 4 parts? The first one is a demoralization, which takes 15 to 20 years. Is when you get into the schools, the media, the entertainment, and you start to pump it full of ideology that you want. Black Lives Matter, gay rights, things, having sex with children's normal, stuff like that. And you do that for a generation. And you get to a destabilization period where you start to get people on edge. And, the demoralization thing's been going on since I was a kid, longer than that. But the destabilization thing, according to Yuri Bezmenov, is that it is a 2 to 5 year period where you just start to see things unravel. And it made me think of, ever since the election, how crazy things have been when people were, taking sides. Red, blue, Republican, Democrat, Trump. Hillary Clinton was my savior. I can't believe we didn't have a female president. So the last 4 years, 5 years, we've been going through that. Then insert crisis, Corona, 3 months, lockdown, shut everything off, no sports, no outdoor activities, just shitty food that can be delivered to your door, all the free porn you want, and all this nonsense, right? Then that starts to wear off because people are like, I'm not going to wear a mask anymore. And then you go into race wars. That's always a good one. See a guy killed, let's just go all out. Let's just knock this one out. Let's just see what, they're going gung-ho. To the point where after crisis stage, it's normalization. You've been hearing that term, right? Because every time you hear the term, you know why they tell you to repeat something? It's so you remember it. And when you keep hearing, oh my God, it's the new normal now. But it will be if you allow it to be. Like, you'll have to wear a mask literally every day for the rest of your life, everywhere you go. You'll have to be sanitized, sterilized, all this stuff, if it continues forward. So it starts with you and getting past the arguments that are no longer there. Always be honest with yourself. Be honest with other people. You speak for only yourself and yourself alone. In the normalization stage, according to Yuri Bezmenov, you can find his stuff on YouTube. It's really fascinating the way he breaks down the infiltration of a society. It makes sense. And where I'm at, I'm like, nah, it's totally happening. The normalization part, by the time you get to that, you won't even know it's real. And here's the thing that makes me realize it's on its way. I was at the store today, and I had my handkerchief, but I didn't have it on. Everybody else has it on. I never wear the mask. And I'm walking past a guy. He goes, come on, man, is it so hard to just put that thing up? And I just looked at him and I go, and I kept going. And you could feel the vibe from him, right? Because in his mind, he thinks I'm the enemy for not doing it. In my mind, I think he's just completely lost under operating on bad information. And then that's fine. This is where compassion comes in. After 3 months, if you still think it's that, you are gone, guys. Snap out of it. So I go check out. And I go to the same grocery store, like literally every day for years, so all the staff knows my face. They know who I am. And the checkout lady comes up and she's like, "How you been?" And she's got the mask and gloves on. It's funny. I go, "I'm doing good." She's like, "Oh yeah, are you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm good. Just getting through this." She's like, Can't wait till this is over." She's like, "Who's talking about Corona right now?" I go, "Funny, right? Not the last few days." She's like, she's like, "I know what's going on." She's like, She grew up in Romania. She tells me, and she's like, "I know the communist thing." She's like, "What really happens? They get your foot here. You put your foot down, and you don't even know it until it's over." Why do you think she's in America? Because they've already gone through that shit in Romania, guys. But you don't know about that. They don't teach that in your history books. You're like, "But they don't teach about how Black lives in America." You're right. There's a lot of history that's not there, guys. So you just have to go with this. Interactions with people, their honesty, are they being true to you, and are you being true to them? That's how you fight through this stuff. Uh, don't give up your rights uh, just for the sake of a false sense of security, because it's not good for everybody. You don't want to be in the normalization stage where now we're all part of this. You can't go out. Curfews are mandatory. Come on, guys. That's what they want to push. You want to have it. You want 7 o'clock. You got to be home every night. Can't go out till at least 6 a.m. You got to wear a mask everywhere you go. And if you don't comply, you don't get money. You don't get a job. There's some real discrimination there, guys. See, that's discrimination too. You're not complying with the mask and gloves. We're not going to let you into our store. That's discrimination. But guess what? It affects everybody. Doesn't matter about your skin tone. Do you understand? We're all under the same umbrella here. But the way you divide and conquer a people is by getting the people to fight with everybody. You get family. I've seen, dude, my friends list on Facebook has dropped tremendously, and rightly so. I called out somebody the other day. They were in the town over in Aurora, Illinois. There were destructive riots. That were public property was destroyed. Peaceful protests, right? And I like how people say, "Well, peaceful," then it wasn't. I'm like, shit still got broken. Either way, it doesn't matter. The point is, that person was insinuating and condoning that. The next day, posted pictures of burnt cop car, broken glass, and stuff, and just said, "Damn, sad face." I go, and I called her out on it. I go, "You don't get to be sad for something that you condoned, and I'm calling you out on it." And then her response was, "You don't get to tell me shit. Just go back to your 12 viewers." And I was like, I laughed, and I just said, "May you live forever." And it's the first time I've ever unfriended somebody and blocked them, even though that's it's a bitch move. But I realized that that person's gone. They're on a different level of stuff, and you have to just let them be. Sever your negative connection to these people. Plug into something positive. Don't let people shame you into doing things or feeling guilt for things that you have no part in. You're not responsible for that. And people will be like, "Why didn't you go clean up the glass?" I'm like, "Did you?" "Well, no, but I want to tell you what's up." See, this is very obvious when you see these people. That mentality is so obvious. Don't feel bad for that. Don't submit to that. Don't take a knee for that. Are you out of your minds? People getting on their knees. Do you understand that's a submissive act? That you're literally laying down your army before the fight has even begun? Do not do that. Don't mistake that symbol for a symbol of good. It's a bad motive disguised with a good motive. And if you don't believe me, fine. It starts with you. I'm sharing with you my experiences, my outlook on things, because I've gone through this. One way or another, truth will come out. You'll see. And as the weeks roll on through the summer, it's going to get interesting. I said before, it was going to get worse before it gets better. People are like, "No, stores are opening tomorrow." I'm like, it's not about the stores and the mask wearing, guys. Snap out of it. It's not about the race. Snap out of it. And I was called a conspiracy theorist and all this shit. I go, okay. Well, 3 months ago, did you think you were going to be destroying public property willingly because you were protesting? I don't think you were. See, think it through. Okay? Just try. It's okay. Because we're all going to get through this, guys. Maybe a couple people are going to die. Again, that's on you. If you decide to go into somebody's home, they have the right to defend their family. This is everybody's right. So if you gather in the street and just hope and pray that the numbers thing will protect you, that's not good. There's a good chance you're really going to get hurt. So the next time you do it, you may not be so lucky. You might catch a brick in the head that was wobbled. I don't know. It's possible. But in my honest opinion, I believe everybody gets what they deserve in this world. If you put yourself there, you deserve that. That's not lack of sympathy or empathy. Empathy is a weapon. It's you get what you deserve in this world. And you will get what's coming to you if you don't recognize your ways. Or continue on. Because the whole idea that things just need to be reformed and stuff is like, okay, what are your ideas? You got any ideas? Have you worked in their industry? I don't know. I just want to live my life, have a family, and do what I do. That's it. I want to be able to say what I need to say, do what I need to do. That's all I want to do, and be left alone. But you're on a public forum saying things. I'm like, right. Because you can't always hear what you want to hear. You have to in order to grow past, you have to experience these things and learn from them. This is why wisdom comes in with age. You're just inexperienced, young, and that's why you don't see a whole lot of people going, yeah, except for those pictures. I don't know, whatever. Just know that the news media is designed to program your brain and to get you on a vibration level of acting out on a certain issue. No, it goes deeper than that. They want you to be mad at each other. They want us to fight. They want us to get into the endless debates that can go on with no end in sight. Why? Because there is no end to those debates. That's why they just keep going around and around. It's called the merry-go-round for a reason. You're on it. So you, as an individual, have to step off the merry-go-round and then go, oh shit, look at it for what it is. And it's just a ride. And know that the visuals that you see, the news that's being pumped, watch out for white, black adjectives, watch out for tragedy, watch out for outrage, watch out for these words and articles, because they will help you be aware of what is about to happen to your mind once you finish reading that title. Because it locks you in, and you get all into it. I hope the person that I blocked and unfriended gets it. Or not. Maybe they won't. That's fine. Don't hide your self-righteousness with another really bad motive, which always goes into you. Something that you're not dealing with or haven't dealt with, and it's part of the nonsense we've been taught through advertisement, school, upbringing, social media, the downfall of our society. That's okay. I'm just grateful that I don't have to have that mental anguish on here, and it's sad to see, like, the guy who passed me in the store. I understand he's probably just like, do you not care? But see, I bet if I was to sit down with that guy and talk to him and share perspectives with each other, I bet he would see things differently. But you don't have time to do it with everybody, right? We expect the news and the internet to tell us how to think. It doesn't tell me how to think. I have to go within. The answers are all within us. You all have the ability. Everybody does. I believe most people are generous, kind, loving people. You have to set aside differences and look at what life really is and find similarities and common ground. Otherwise, you have to detach from these people completely and just do not allow them in their life, because it will only cause you pain, misery, anguish, and discontent. It is awful to be in those stages. I'm about being happy, joyous, and free. Happy, joy. I hope everybody gets through it. I believe we will. Nothing new under the sun. We've gotten through stuff before. Not about race, guys. Infiltration of our entire society. And it's been going on a lot longer than the last, couple of years. It's been going on for a long time to get us to this point. So now is a test of each individual to truly look at themselves and see what they're doing. And are you contributing negative or are you contributing positive? Are you being self-righteous? Are you doing something selfishly or selflessly? Just really know yourself, and you'll know which one you're doing. But don't wait too long, because if you wait too long, and don't get mad at people who tell you the truth, because it's not that they're trying to make their point, and they're not trying to, they're not trying to be right. They're trying to help let you know, like, where it's really going as a whole, not this sidebar stupid arguments like, we think the middle oppression. That's not what it is. It doesn't exist the way you think it does. It doesn't exist the way you think it does. I know everybody will have their stories. Everybody will have I know, bigger picture than you. Remember that. It's not about you, but you think it is. Don't take yourself too seriously.